Hannah Murray on TRE in the afternoon. TRE's Entrepreneur of the Week.
My entrepreneur of the week is Darcey Croft. She's an advanced clinical practitioner and specialist midwife with 16 years on NHS front lines, specialising in maternal health. She's the founder of Isomum, an award-winning brand making the UK's first electrolyte drink built specifically for pregnancy, birth and postpartum recovery. It was named Consumer Products Startup of the Year for the second year running at the South East UK Startup Awards. Welcome to the show, Darcey.
Oh, hi, Hannah. Thanks for having me on.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. And wow, first of all, being a midwife, I mean, that must be such a rewarding, amazing and stressful job.
Do you know, when I became a midwife, I signed up and I was so naive. I thought it was going to be about cuddling babies most of the time. And there's very little cuddling of babies that goes on with midwifery. Oh. It's a tough job, but it is really, really rewarding.
Yeah. And I imagine you get really involved with the mums and the families and the stories, and you're constantly thinking about them all the time and what's going on. And
it's really hard. It's definitely something that you have to learn to kind of like not take home with you. But I can't say that I ever cracked that skill, because I think every conversation you have, everyone you meet, everyone's got these amazing stories, and you take a little piece of them home with you and they live in your heart. Yeah, it's a really lovely job.
Do you keep in touch with some of the mums?
Well, I do, yes. One of the ladies I looked after, now I've left the NHS now for about 6 months, and I just had a text message just before we've started talking from someone I looked after probably about a year ago. Oh. And she's just messaged me, and she just wants me to help her with something. And it's really lovely.
Yeah. And it's nice that you've kind of taken things forward. I didn't mention in the introduction Mother Mind, which is your sort of maternal mindset platform. Tell us about that.
So my speciality is looking after maternal mental health. So I worked many years doing labour ward and delivery, and then I moved into maternal mental health. So it's a very unique, I like to see myself as the bridge between the maternal mental health services, so your psychiatrist, your psychotherapist and psychologists, and the maternity unit. So I'm in a very unique position. And I think there was probably only about 200 of the specialist roles that I've got within the whole of the UK. And basically, we're looking after everyone who's got any mental health problems, any worries, any fears, any previous trauma that they're then worried about giving birth again. So our job is to sit down with them. And it gave me such a unique insight. I think I've probably heard every fear, concern, worry, anxiety that you can have when you're pregnant or giving birth or trying to conceive.
Yeah.
So that gives me this really, really specialist, unique insight. And when I left, I thought I don't want to let that unique skill to go to waste. So I built this platform, Mother Mind. On one hand, it supports the individual who wants that support with their mental health as they're going through things. On the other hand, we've got Mother Mind at Work. So that's where an employer can put in place a support plan for their employee. And so the employee can then access all of this support under their work well-being plan at work. So that just takes one obstacle out, and we can reach far more people than I could do individually doing it that way.
Yeah. And the interesting thing with mental health connected to pregnancy and motherhood and postpartum is you can often find, I believe, women suffering with mental health issues who've never suffered with mental health issues before. Obviously, the amount of stress that your body goes under, both being pregnant
Absolutely.
and having a baby and the aftermath of all that, can really do something to the brain, can't it?
And quite often people would be really shocked, and they would say to me, Darcey, I've never suffered from anxiety before. I've never worried before. And now I'm not coping on a day-to-day basis. And yes, there can be physiological reasons. So I would quite often test vitamin D, and surprisingly, it'd be so low. So it's so important to get that sunshine, get your vitamin D and take the vitamin D supplements, because it does affect your mental health, or there could be other deficiencies going on, which they're the easy fixes, because we can then give you supplements. Even a low level of iron, that can cause anxiety. So we can fix those if we know what tests to put in place. Other bits would be obviously the financial worries. So I'm looking at the whole biopsychosocial, so your biology, your psychology, everything that's going on in your social life. So that can be work, finances, just previous history. So if you've had a difficult birth experience before, that can really set you up for having quite a challenging time the next time. And if we know about that early enough, we can get the right support in place and make that experience completely different. But what I was finding, that by the time women were referred to me, if they'd had a difficult experience from the previous birth, they would almost be in denial and not thinking about it until the third trimester, when it had reached a crisis point. So I'm now trying to kind of get to women through Mother Mind way before that even happens. So if they have a challenging experience, they can come straight to us and start that work a lot sooner than waiting until the next pregnancy, when it might feel like a bit of a crisis going on.
Yeah. And I've also read a few times over the years that the whole understanding that one birth to another can be completely different. So different. Women who have given birth before, maybe the second time around, they're like, okay, I've done this before, I know how it works, whether it's mentally or physically. And the birth and also how it affects you mentally can be totally different.
Totally different. And this is what I would tell all of my clients. And they would always, I think I've got such a good success rate. They would come back to me and said that was nothing like I was worried about, and it was not, because we put the plans in place for them very early on, and it gave them a whole different experience to maybe the first time when they might have been unsupported, or like things happened that we can plan for, and we can put really good, robust plans in place. So on Mother Mind, I've actually put a free tool. If anyone's pregnant and they want to do a birth planning tool, they can go on Mother Mind and create their own birth plan. And it kind of guides you through some of the psychological aspects of giving birth.
Oh, great. We'll give out the details at the end. That's really good to know. And there's also, I think maybe, again, particularly for first-time mums, there might be a bit of an Instagram view as to what being a mum is like, and the idea you give birth, you have this cute
lies.
Yeah, exactly. You have this cute little baby, you dress it up and look pretty, and, go for a walk in the park, and it's just such a lovely, wonderful experience. And the reality, as you say, really isn't necessarily like that at all. It can be really, really challenging.
I really respect the fact that some mums, they want to go and put their best foot forward and the best face forward onto Instagram and make it look like they're really, really coping. But the amount of mums I've supported who maybe look like that to the public face, but then when I see them in my clinic and they're telling me exactly how they're feeling, and it's night and day different. So I would say never trust. If you're comparing yourself, it's compare and despair, isn't it? Mm-hmm. You look at somebody else online and you think, well, they seem to be doing okay, so why am I not doing okay? And what's good to remember is normally the first few months, for a lot of mums, there's a lot of support around them. So everyone, and sadly, it's all about the baby, because everyone coos over the baby, and kind of the mums do get forgotten about, but there's still support around them. And I find it's months, kind of 8, 9, 10 towards the end of the year, all of that support seems to have withdrawn a bit because normal life has resumed. And you've got mums still maybe coping with a lack of sleep and a lack of support. And that's when it really tends to hit quite hard. So in the postnatal planning, we always make sure that we kind of like cover these months towards the end of the year when there might be less support than at the beginning.
Yeah. And everybody's in a different situation. Some mums are going to be really lucky and have a fantastic partner by their side. 2 sets of parents maybe that live nearby that are always on hand to do grandparent duty. A great set of friends around them that love kids and want to be involved as well. That's the ideal scenario, which some people are really lucky to have. But then, of course, you've got single parents who don't have their own parents, who feel really, really lonely.
It's so tough for them. And you also made a really good point that dads get massively overlooked in the whole of the support system that's going on. And they're quite often, they have to go back to work because their paternity leave's not as good as, certainly in the UK, it's not as good as other places. And they're back to work, they're trying to look after their wife or their partner, and they're trying to juggle all these things. They've got worries themselves. They might have had a challenging experience throughout the pregnancy or even the delivery. And I think that there are some really good places where dads can get support in the UK. But it's limited, and these support groups have been set up by dads who felt that they were alone, so then they set up their own support groups. So with Mothermind, I'm engineering it, so if a dad needs help, then he can get support as well.
Yeah, oh, fantastic. So tell us about Isomum. This sounds like a great idea. I love electrolytes, so I'm really interested to know what you've done differently with this.
So I think I'm an accidental entrepreneur. At the time when I developed it, I had no plans to be an entrepreneur. I was just a midwife at work. And there was one day, there was a training exercise, and we were learning lessons from this situation where a woman had come in to give birth. She hadn't had the delivery that she'd wanted. Mum was okay, baby was okay, but it was an emergency delivery. Baby did spend some time in the neonatal unit, and we were trying to work out how to prevent this, because after the event, it was found out that the reason that it had been an emergency was because her electrolytes were unbalanced because she had been drinking too much water. She'd overhydrated. Now, we would never tell someone in labour don't hydrate, because that causes its own problems. So I wanted to give this mother the ability to manage her own hydration or reduce that risk way before it needed any clinicians to put interventions in place because it had got bad. Because this lady who had ended up in an emergency situation, her symptoms were exactly the same as the preeclampsia symptoms, which is why it was treated as an emergency. So, and I thought, I am just baffled that it was 2022 at the time, and why has a product never been developed for women for the most energy intense time that they'll probably ever go through? And they're bringing sports drinks in, which were laden with sugar and caffeine, which are really bad for, obviously it's not ideal at all, especially if you've got gestational diabetes, which many women do. And I was like, this is crazy that nothing's been developed for them. So I went on a bit of a mission to find something. I couldn't find anything. And I was like, well, this is that gap that you hear about with entrepreneurs, and I'm going to have to do something. So I was still juggling. I was juggling kind of the inside of the pandemic, a full-time job. In the evenings and the weekends, I was working on this business, and I enlisted a chemist, some biochemists, and got all the proper research done. And we developed this drink. So yes, it might not have wildly different ingredients to some electrolyte drinks you can look at, but I wanted a mum to be reassured that this has been investigated and made for her. So it's pregnancy safe. She can take it in breastfeeding. We've added some extra ingredients just to support the breastfeeding and enrich the breast milk for the baby. It's got ingredients in there which are going to support postnatal recovery. So it's got some vitamins as well. And it's amazing. You don't even need to be pregnant to use it. So if you flag at 3:00, you just take a glass of it, pregnant or not, and it'll pick you right up.
It's brilliant. I really loved what you'd done on the website. I was looking through all the different ingredients, and I think it's really important for anybody, but certainly, I guess, when you're pregnant, to know what you're putting inside your body.
Transparency is everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And seeing all the ingredients, and not just seeing what they are, but seeing what the benefits are. You know, you explain on the website why those ingredients are in there and what they're doing for your body. So it's really good to see that.
Yeah, so it's a lovely business. It's going really well. Yes, and we've done. Being an entrepreneur who started as an accidental entrepreneur, I went down the route. So I haven't gone for funding and investment, and I've kind of self-funded it, and I've bootstrapped it from the start. I did get a small startup loan just to get the research and and everything done on the manufacturing side. But since then, it's just been word of mouth. So we don't have a marketing budget. I'm really bad time-wise for making reels and socials and TikToks. I know it's on my list of things that I have to do, but I haven't actually got around to it yet. So it's really heartwarming to see that, like, every time. I do struggle to manage kind of stock levels because we'll have a flurry and then suddenly I'll be like, oh, we're going to run out of stock. Because the first time we literally ran out of stock as soon as we launched it. So that's all a big steep learning curve for me. And that's what you get when you're an accidental entrepreneur. You get a very steep lesson in learning the logistics of running a business. And I'm not entirely there yet, but every day's a new learning day.
That's amazing, though. I think it's great because so many people see that gap in the market for something, but go, well, I don't know where to start, and then just carry on with their normal day. So to actually, I mean, you didn't know where to start either, but you did the research and found the right people to do the research, and here we are. So well done.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so I've got the national finals for the Startup Awards at Ideas Fest in September. So I'm, fingers crossed we'll win the nationals, because we actually won the Southeast Startup Awards last year as well, but we didn't make the nationals. Or we didn't win the nationals. So this year I'm really rooting for the nationals.
Oh, that's so exciting. And what difference do these awards make, would you say?
I think it's just awareness, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's kind of a little bit of kudos. I mean, they're an award. They're not like, it's a nice thing. I mean, I've got the kind of awards sitting on my table over there. So it's a bit motivating when you kind of like you've worked so hard on something and you turn around and you go, oh, that's nice. That's nice to win.
Definitely.
I mean, what's nicer is to get the feedback from the women that are using the product. And they're like just saying how much it's helped them. I'd say that's more important than an award, but like on a personal level, an award's always nice.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Well, if people want to find out about Isomum, there's a separate website for that, isomum.com. Is that the best place to send people to? And where do you deliver?
At the moment, we are just UK, but I know this is for Europe, isn't it? This talk show. So I can sort some shipping out for Europe if people want it to go to Europe.
Okay, amazing. So
and I think probably in the next few months we are going to start selling in Europe.
Okay.
Anyway,
fantastic. And also we talked about Mothermind. If people want to find out more information about that, where do they find Mothermind?
So that's just mothermind.io.
Okay, mothermind.io. Brilliant. Yeah. Well, Darcey Croft, thank you for being our Entrepreneur of the Week. It's been really lovely to have you with us.
It's been so lovely to talk to you, Hannah.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.